I was invited by the Hennessey fireworks crew to get an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at what it took to put on this year's 4th of July celebration. Now, like you, I've been to many fireworks displays, and when I got word that I was doing this story, I thought, a couple of hours and ta-da, fireworks show. Boy, was I wrong. I met up with the fireworks manager, Brian Birch, and his assistant, Logan Macy, the night before the 4th to see what it really takes to put on a commercial fireworks display.
Basically what we're doing tonight is getting the mortar rack set up for the fireworks. We'll get these tight. We'll screw it here. And then we'll screw another 2x4 on the other side so when the shells go off, these don't fall over.
That would be bad.
That would be disastrous.
There's actually some math involved to determine where the show is actually set up.
State says you have to be 70 feet per OD inch. So a 6-inch shell is 420 feet. So basically we're trying to get everybody over in the home side football stands this year.
You have to have a license from the state to manage a commercial fireworks show. Brian is a licensed commercial fireworks display operator, and Logan was in the final stages of getting his license. Part of the licensing process is safety.
When you're loading a shell, they always want you to start in the middle and work your way out. That way you don't put a shell here and you're looking over to load that and something happens, then one of these shells go off. Your face is looking right over the mortar.
Commercial fireworks show consists of about 5 pieces. The first one, of course, is the actual firework. They call it the mortar, and that is what is then dropped inside of a launch tube like this. This is a 3-inch launch tube. And then the mortar is then wired to what this is called an E-match, or an electronic fuse, if you would. And when current is put to this fuse, it ignites the firework, sending it up in the air. Then the E-match is then connected to a breakout box, and this breakout box can hold 20 different fireworks, and you can double some of them up, or you can put them individually to send a signal to just one firework at a time, or multiples. And then, of course, is the master control. This is the actual device that sends the fireworks up in the air. It's now about 9:30 and it's dark. The boys set up a few shells for a test fire.
Fire it home!
The test launch was successful, so they called it quits and headed home to get some sleep. Tomorrow was going to be a long day. Okay, so it's early on the morning of the 4th of July. They worked really hard all last night getting all of these tubes set up. And then today they're going to actually drop all the fireworks into all of these tubes. There's 700 of these. And then spend the rest of the day, probably about 8 hours, getting the wires connected to all of them. So when they push the button to make them go, they actually go. The truckload of shells have arrived, and now it's time to get to work.
A lot of boxes. Gonna be a really good show.
Wiring all the mortar shells into the control box, which will hook up to the firing box.
All right, so it's straight up noon right now. It's about 95 degrees out here. These guys have been out here since about 7 this morning, and the sun's just gotten so hot that they've brought in some tents to get underneath to do all this wiring. But another little dilemma has popped up. They found out that because they have 700 shells, they don't have enough firing devices to launch them all off at once.
We're gonna try to get all the bigger shells, the 4s, the 5s, and the 6s. We're gonna get all those to where we can fire all those off because we've only got a certain amount of boxes.
We might have to upgrade our firing system a little bit where we can fire off more shells.
Throughout the day, several friends volunteered to help load the mortars.
Kind of interested to see how all this stuff works. Always like seeing stuff blow up.
This is the pyro side of you, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The guys were about 3/4 of the way done wiring up all these fireworks. The new problem now is the wind is gusting 15 to 20 miles an hour, and their limit to be able to launch these things is 20 miles an hour. So we're hoping as the sun sets, the wind will die down.
As long as it stays under 20, we'll be good to go. If it gets over 20, we may not get to set it off.
The main show, that consists of 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch mortars, has been set up on the south side of the site. The finale has been set up on the north side, and it is made up of what is called cakes. These are prepackaged ground displays that spray into the air. There are about 2,000 of these.
This cake here for the finale is 1,000 rounds, 1,000 round shot. It goes off in 45 seconds. We're going to go pretty quick at the end. It'll be pretty good. It'll be 2 of us, one turning the knob and one pushing buttons. It's going to go pretty fast at the end.
Such an epic adventure. We even have the mayor over here working on this project.
He is stripping wires so we can put them into the box.
Well, what seems to be the problem?
He's a little slow.
Well, it's about 7 o'clock. It's still about 91 degrees and the wind is up still pretty high, but the guys have got everything all wired up, and soon they're going to be testing all the circuits to make sure everything's good and ready for showtime.
We are done wiring. We're at the final stages right now.
It's now 8:30 p.m., about 40 minutes to showtime, and the boys are running their final tests to be sure everything is connected and ready.
1 still dead.
1 still dead.
1 and 8 still dead.
After running several tests, they are starting to find some problems.
We come unhooked. Broke a wire. It works. Hallelujah.
Problem solved, so they thought.
We're on test A1. We're good. We're good. A3's down. Guys, we're in trouble.
We've got like 4 boxes dead.
Well, it's almost sunset, and they're still struggling with one of those boxes. It's just not connecting, so they're quickly scrambling, trying to change out the box to see if they can get it working before showtime. It's now 9 p.m. and hundreds of spectators have gathered and lined up on Mitchell Road and in the football stadium and are ready for a fireworks show. None of them are aware that there may not be a show unless the boys can figure out what is wrong with the system. The clock is ticking, and they are still finding problems. If they can't find out what's wrong, they will only be able to run about half the show.
8, 9, and 10 are dead now, so whatever you did, switch it back. Found that we got a bad box. One of these boxes were bad. Happens. Luckily we had an extra one. We're back in business here, hopefully. We are good to go. We got our problem solved.
Don't know what we did, but it worked.
With everything up and running, it's showtime.
Here we go. We're going live, guys.
The show turned out wonderfully. The team learned a lot that will make next year's show even better.
Oh, we had a couple of misfires, but overall it was a huge success. I mean, for what went off, it was a pretty good show, I think. All in all, it worked out good for the first one I've done.
Well, now all that's left is the cleanup and planning for next year. All of the mortar tubes and electronics will be stored and reused for years to come. I would like to thank the town of Hennessey for creating a wonderful 4th of July show and the launch crew for allowing me to be part of it. Until next time, we'll see you on We're Going In.